Hi everyone, and welcome to this journey through 50 plus years of history from the time my uncle and my dad came down from Omeo in Victoria as young men in their 30s and 40s to settle down here and start a new life all the way up from the high mountains where the cattlemen roamed the plains for many, many years. They were fathers of cattlemen. They were sons of cattlemen, and the whole rotation kept going until these guys actually broke free and came down to Victoria in the 1950s. It started off with my Uncle Bill coming down from Omeo. First off, he settled in Traralgon, then later followed by my dad and my uncle, who stayed in Traralgon with them until they were able to get their own homes. In 1955, I believe it was, they found the farm. That's where my Uncle Jim settled in the end, and my dad got a ministry house through the government in Morwell. Now we're going to follow through with some of their purchases, going from when they bought the land and setting up to make this little hobby farm into a regular place where Uncle Jim could make his living from until such time as he started work at the SEC. Okay, a lot of the people mentioned in this book at the present time are no longer with us. So if there's anyone out there that may know any of these people, yeah, I apologise if it causes any distress hearing their names mentioned, or if you want to know more about them, possibly get hold of me through messaging on YouTube, and I'll do my best to answer any queries that you may have. Right, now we're going to go through from the setup of the first financial year from 1958, which is when the books first started for the farm. There was a purchase made by Hutchison and Pyle Proprietary Limited for £12, 10 shillings, 0 pence, which was for iron and palings to build a home for my uncle on the property. On the 18th of the same month, D.W. Chandler Proprietary Limited was for the purchase of a truck on finance, which the first deposit was £16, 2 shillings. Now, later on down the track, I will take you through and actually work out all this in our currency today, and you'll see the big difference in prices. It sounds cheap for a lot of people, but believe me, back then when they're only earning a few quid working at the APM, it was a lot of money. Rhine Clock Traralgon, 10 shillings. Paynes on March Proprietary Limited for the tractor, £8, 2 shillings. There was a payment made just in cash for £10 to a garage in Morwell. I'd say that would have been for a service or maybe for some diesel for the tractor. D.W. Chandler Limited, Ringlock Traralgon for fencing materials, £10, 1 shilling, 3 pence. Sorry, I've got to get my mind reading these old prices, so sorry about that. Motor registration brands for Austin truck registration, £38, 18 shillings and 6 pence. Transport Regulations Board, that would be for a licence for £2. Vining Brothers Proprietary Limited, crushed oats for cattle, which was £15, 1 shilling. VACC Insurances for Fordson Tractor, £4, 8 shillings. Vining Brothers Proprietary Limited for crushed oats, once again, £12, 8, which would have been a week later. Vining Brothers Proprietary Limited for steel posts, 100 of them, £24, 10 shillings. This was to put fences up around the property. I might add that I did go up to Jumbuck quite a bit as a child, so I actually know this property quite well. Haynes Von March Proprietary Limited, Garage Morwell, £10. Caltex Oil Australia Proprietary Limited, 1 times 44-gallon petrol to run the machinery and cars, £10. Sorry, £7 3 pence. J Bridle, who, by the way, was actually related to us. He was a cousin of ours, which is what Bridle Road in Mall is actually named after now. Payment for 1 sheep, £3.10. In the meantime, we had a tractor payment for £8 2 shillings. And then we had a truck payment on the 14th for £16 2 shillings. Paynes Box March Proprietary Limited on October the 1st. Payment for garage in full, £10 11 shillings. On the 30th, there was a payment for the tractor went out at £8 2 shillings. Vining Brothers Proprietary Limited, once again, 10 bags of oats, 1 bag of salt, £16 4 shillings and 3 pence. On the 14th of October, there was another payment for the truck made, £16 2 shillings. D&W Chandler in Traralgon for a ringlock fence was £11 4 shillings and 2 pence. The 30th, Caltex Proprietary Limited for 1 44-gallon drum of petrol was £7 11 shillings and 3 pence. And you got 144 kerosene for £13 3 shillings and 10 pence. The 15th of October that year was 1 4-gallon of motor oil was £2 3 pence and 7 pence. £2 3 shillings and 7 pence, sorry. November the 3rd, it's 1 by 44-gallon drum of petrol, Caltex, £7 11 shillings and 3 pence. Now, I will advise you that there was bank statements to go with all these, but none of them actually exist anymore, unfortunately. So that's why you can't actually see a running total on these. This is just the way the boys did it. Later on in life, Dad got questioned by his accountant on why he did things this way. I can't remember the excuse he gave now, but he did tell me. But Dad only had a year 8 education, or year 8, Form 2, whichever way you want to look at it. So not even middle school. So him and Uncle Jim, they were raised very poorly. Their parents had no money. They struggled. They lived off the land. They bred their own cattle, grew all their own vegetables and picked fruits, lived through the awful economic decline of the 1940s, 30s, 40s during the war. They had a heck of a life where they were up in Omeo, so to come down here and actually to be able to run their own farm meant a lot to both of them. December the 11th, 144-gallon drum of petrol, once again, £7 11 shillings 3 pence. Roy W. Hastings, funeral director. This is when my grandmother died, when Georgina Alice Hodgkin passed away. Roy W. Hastings, funeral director, £95 9 shillings. The 29th of December, it's 144-gallon drum of petrol, Caltex, £7 11 shillings and 3 pence. And I'd say the same date again because Dad's got it covered up with tape because the poor old book was starting to fall to pieces. But yeah, the same date, 1 4-litre motor oil, 40 Caltex, £2, 3 shillings and 7 pence. And we also have, from November, we have £16, 2 shillings paid out for the truck, £8, 2 shillings paid out for the tractor. December, £15, 2 shillings paid out for the truck, £8, 2 shillings paid out for the tractor. Now, in this time, my father had a job at Amcor, now known as Opal Paper in Morwell, where he worked for about 48 years before he retired in the 1980s. So, yes, he worked there for a very long time. He had a normal job. Uncle Jim relied on the farm until he met my Auntie Pat and got married in 1965 here in Sales. So, yeah, there was a lot going on in those years for the boys. Okay, 1959, January the 14th. Now, remembering back this far, your financial year actually started in January and went to December. I can't remember what year it actually all changed around and went from the middle of one year to the middle of the next year. I can't remember those dates, so I'm sorry, people. That was way before I was even interested in what Dad used to do with these books. By the way, drop a hello in the comments for my admin, Damien, my son. He's in his room at the moment, just watching over the comments. Okay, now we get back to this. Truck payment, January the 14th, 1959. £15, 2 shillings. Caltex Proprietary Limited again for fuel. For petrol, £7, 11 shillings and 3 pence. Now, back then, they didn't have tanks that you could keep on your property. You had to literally go and buy it in big jerry cans and take it up to run your machinery. So, compared to today, where most farmers have got basically a fuel bowser on their property, yeah, it was a lot different back then in the 1950s, people. February the 9th. Now, remembering my Uncle Jim brought that tractor in 1958, right, when they first started. On January the 30th of 1959, the last payment was made on the tractor for £8, 2 shillings, and the tractor was his. And old Gert still stood at the farm right up until just before Uncle Jim left there. I'd have to confirm with my cousin Gina what became of her, but I'm not too sure. I'm hoping to get Gina on with us somehow or another in the future to have a bit of a chat to you about her years living up at Jumbuck. Okay, February the 9th, 1959. Chandler's Limited, Traralgon, for 2 gates. £9, 12 shillings. Truck payment on the 14th, £15, 2 shillings. Now, the things that my uncle was selling off that farm was freshly cut timber. He had his own sawmill there. He sold the tree ferns, and I'm not too sure, but I can remember Dad quite often bringing home a half a side of lamb from up there, so I think he might have had some sheep running free up there at some stage that he used to go out and slaughter, and yeah, we benefit with a little bit of fresh lamb every now and then when Dad could get up there when he wasn't working. Okay. Now we've got Caltex again. We've got, by this time the farm was in full production, I dare say, because we've got 2 lots of petrol, one on the 23rd, one on the 24th of February for £15, 2 and 6, which was 2 44-gallon drums instead of the one that they were getting. The 24th of January again, it was 1 4-gallon motor oil, which would have been for the machinery, £2, 3 shillings 7 pence. March the 23rd, Caltex Proprietary Limited, 1 by 44-gallon drum of petrol, £7, 11 pence, 11 shillings and 3 pence. Notice how the price of petrol never went up in all that time, people, compared to today. Interesting. Jumbuck property rates, £3, 12 shillings and 10 pence. April 13th, Caltex Proprietary Limited, 1 44-gallon drum of petrol, £7, 11 shillings and 3 pence. Caltex Proprietary Limited, 1 by 44-gallon drum of petrol, £7, 11 shillings and 3 pence. Whoops. Sorry, I just knocked the stand, everybody. Right. Now, 14th of every month from February, still regularly paying off the tractor, making sure that it gets paid. Transport Regulation Board, £2. KSP Chandler, £10, 11 shillings and 3 pence. The 6th of July, got £7, 11 pence and 11 shillings and 9 pence. Okay, petrol started going up as of the 6th of July in 1959. There's a little bit of difference there. Either that or a bit of spillage, one of the two. 29th of July, Binding Brothers Proprietary Limited, £21, 14 shillings and 6 pence. Not sure what that was for. Motor registration branch for the truck was £38, 18 shillings and 6 pence. Caltex Limited petrol, £30, 9 shillings and 8 pence. August the 10th, Fortune Young'uns and Co. £4, 4 shillings, and another truck payment for £15 too. Okay. Motor registration badge, TIF on Ford Ute, £4. Traralgon Auto Sales, deposit on Ute, £158. So Uncle Jim brought a Ute in this time, an old Ford Ute, 1959 model, so yeah. Geez, I'm trying to think what model Ford that would have been back that far. Anyone out there that's savvy on cars, please drop a message in the comments on that one. If it was a Holden, I'd have a fair idea. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Okay, the 18th of August, TJ Cobbledick and Co. £6, 6 shillings. September the 10th, KSP Chandler Limited, £13, 5 shillings. And this is where the payment started for the Ute. The 12th was £16, 2 shillings. The truck was due on the 14th, which is £15, 2 shillings. The Ford on the 12th, that would be Dad's Ford that he had, £16, 2 shillings. The 14th, the truck, £15, 2 shillings. Oh, no, it's a Ford Ute, sorry. The Ford Ute, £16, 2 shillings for November. And the truck was actually paid for on the 14th of December, last payment. No, it was on the 14th of November, sorry. And that was for £15, 2 shillings. So they got that all paid off, and now we're up to here. Caltex Proprietary Limited for petrol, once again, £9, 15 shillings and 4pence. Huge rise in the price of petrol there. TJ Cobbledick and Co Proprietary Limited, £2, 9 shillings and 6pence. Omeo Cemetery Trust, this is for the upkeep of the grave, people. £10. Caltex Proprietary Limited, petrol, 3x44 gallon, £22, 8 shillings and 9pence. TJ Cobbledick Insurance, Austin Truck, is £20, 5 shillings. Now I'll gently move this old girl over and start on the next page. Move down a bit. Right. July the 1st, which is up here, Dad's Uncle Jim's got written credit balance. Money paid into the bank, $25. This is where Dad started taking over the book. Sorry, people. I noticed a difference in the writing. £25th, money paid to the bank, £15. The 6th, money paid to the bank. These were all cash in hand and then paid into the bank manually. Back then there was no such thing like the luxuries we've got of automatic credit and direct debits and everything. Everything was done by cash taken out of the bank, paid to the person, and a receipt given, a paper receipt. So things have changed over the years a great deal. Now, this is just all the bank account stuff here. So this gives you an idea. At the end of August, there was £7, 5 shillings and 4pence in credit. The start of 1959, credit balance there, £65, 18 shillings and 8pence. The credit balance as of the 17th of February is £92, 2 shillings, 11pence. Credit balance on the 18th of April was £78, 10 shillings and 2pence. No. Credit balance as of September 22nd was £162.14, £162, 14 shillings and 8pence. Sorry about that. Okay, well, we might leave it at that one for today. We'll just make that long enough. But yeah, we'll visit this book again next Tuesday. That's all right with my admin. And if not, I'll just do it by a premiere live, and that way I can be in the comments with you as well. Okay then, well, I'll see you all next week. Thank you for your attention today, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.